This video provides a simple introduction to creating Java applications with the NetBeans integrated development environment. In particular, we'll be focusing on a couple of key concepts. One is using NetBeans to create a project for existing Java source code, and the other is using NetBeans to create a Java application from scratch. Now, before you can use NetBeans, you will need to get it installed on your computer. If you already have the Java Development Kit version 5 or version 6 on your computer, then you are all ready to go, and you can simply go download the NetBeans IDE and install it on top of the JDK. It uses the JDK to help actually compile and run your Java programs. Separately, if you don't already have Java Standard Edition 5 or 6 installed on your computer, then there are bundles of NetBeans with the JDK that you can download from the java.sun.com website, and I'll talk about both of those issues here. Also, before I go to the download page, I just want to show you these additional add-ons that you can include with NetBeans. You can develop mobile Java applications, web applications, enterprise applications as well with NetBeans. There's also a profiler to help you tune the performance of your applications, and for those of you who might be familiar with C or C++, you can even add in a C and C++ pack so that you can use NetBeans to develop C and C++ applications. Well, when you're ready to download, simply go to the netbeans.org website and click this Download NetBeans IDE button, which I'll do here now. And you'll be brought to the downloads page. And again, if you already have Java Standard Edition 5 or 6 installed, you can use this download button at the top of the page to do your installation, to download the installer and to do the installation. Separately, by the way, this is specifically the one for Windows. There's also a link for other systems and languages. The other issue is that you can get the NetBeans IDE bundled with the JDK. If you scroll down here to the Download NetBeans IDE with JDK section of the page, I'm, as an example, going to click on this first link to get the bundle with JDK 6, which brings me over to the java.sun.com website. And the first download is the one that you would want, which is the Java SE Development Kit 6. U3 stands for Update 3, and NetBeans IDE 5.5.1 bundle. So when you're ready to download, you can click this download link over here. You may first want to check out things like the README files and the installation instructions and the release notes. But once you're ready, you click this download button, and you'll be brought to the download page, where you'll need to accept or decline the license agreement. You'll only be able to download if you accept it, so I'll click accept here. And I will then be presented with the page where I can select what it is I would like to download and go ahead and start that download. And you'll notice that there's a version for the Windows platform, the Linux platform, the Solaris Spark platform, and the Solaris x86 platform that you can download as a bundle here. For other platforms, you'll want to go back over to the netbeans.org site and simply download the IDE. You'll either already have Java installed on those other platforms, or you'll need to go to that platform vendor to get an appropriate Java development kit. In this case, I downloaded the version for Microsoft Windows because I happen to be using a Microsoft Windows system. The executable that you download will install both the JDK and the NetBeans products, and all you need to do is follow the on-screen instructions to make sure everything gets installed correctly. Now, separately, you will be given along the way choices of where you want to install items. For simplicity, I recommend that you simply choose the default install locations. Now, once you've gone ahead and installed the NetBeans IDE and made sure that you also have the Java Development Kit installed as well, you can launch the NetBeans IDE. In Microsoft Windows, you can do that through the Start button. In other platforms, you may have an icon on your desktop, for example. And then you'll see the IDE presented as shown here. The welcome page gives you access to a couple of key things, such as the Getting Started guide, what's new in the current version of NetBeans, etc. Also, you'll have access to the add-on packs if those are of interest to you, and the documentation and online support forums if those are something that you need as well. There's also some current articles. If you have an internet connection, it will load up some current articles on NetBeans and Java development, and also some blogs as well if you want to keep up to date with what's going on in NetBeans. Now, the key things that we want to focus on here are two issues. One is the ability to create a Java application, or a project rather, using existing Java source code that you already have. And then the other is to be able to create a Java application from scratch. So if I'd like to create a project with existing source code, I can go to the File menu and select New Project. I'll then be presented with the New Project dialog. And within the general category, there is a subcategory or a project type called Java Project with Existing Sources. So I'm going to select that and click Next. I can then type the name that I'd like for that project. So I'll just call it Project with Existing Sources. And you'll notice that this is going to be placed into my C:\projects folder, which I created, and then this is going to be the subfolder within that projects folder. And you can browse to anywhere you like on your system to place that appropriately. Now, NetBeans has a concept called the main project. As it turns out, you can have many different projects open at once, and they'll all show up over here in the Projects tab. However, only one of them will be the main project, and that is the project which, when you say to build the project or compile all of its source code, that's the one where the source code will be compiled. And then separately, when you say to run the main project, that's the one that will actually execute. Since this is going to be our only open project, we will set it as the main project for now. When we click Next, we're then given this dialog box, or portion of the dialog box, where we can add in folders with packages of classes that we would like to use in this application. And the thing that you have to keep in mind is that NetBeans treats all code as if it's in a package. A package is a way of organizing Java source code for reusability and also for unique naming purposes. If you don't explicitly say to use packages, NetBeans will refer to all of the code that you specify as being in the so-called default package, which is what we'll see here. Now I'm going to click Add Folder so that I can go locate some source code that I already have. I'm going out to the examples of Java How to Program 7th edition, which we wrote. And I'm going to pull up the first program from the book, which is Figure 2.1. And I'll click Open, at which point it tells me that this folder is now going to be part of the source packages for this application. Now, you can add as many of these as you need to, or remove them if you need to. When you're done, you click Finish, and it will go ahead and create the project. And the project, which is the main project, will always be shown in bold. So if you have multiple projects open, the bold one is the one that would execute if you said to run the main application. Now, within source packages, you'll see this node that says default packages, or default package, excuse me, and that is where the source code for my first application was placed. And the reason it was placed in default package is that within this source code file, I don't happen to have any package statements. Now, what you see here is just a simple application that's going to print out a string at the command line. And if you would like to build your application, you can go to the Build menu and select Build Main Project or Clean and Build Main Project. Build Main Project will only recompile the classes that have changed since the last build operation. Clean and Build will actually remove any .class files for compiled Java source code, and then it will rebuild all of the .java files to recreate the .class files. This option is particularly useful if you know you've made a correction or a change, and for some reason you're not seeing that when you run the program. Every now and then a class will not be recompiled properly, so you can select Clean and Build, and that will usually correct the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and say to build the project. When I do, the output window opens up and shows me what was going on, including the fact that the build was successful. If there were any error messages, they'd show up here, and we'd be able to double click them to jump to the error message point in the program. Now, separately, we would like to be able to run the program. We can select Run to do that, and when you select Run Main Project or hit the F6 button, it's going to execute the program. If the program has not yet been executed, or if it was unclear what the so-called main class was, you'll get this dialog. Welcome 1 is the class that contains the main function in this example, the main method. So I'm going to click OK, and it goes ahead and runs the program, and here it shows you the output of the program as well. So welcome to Java programming. Now, a couple of other items that I want to point out. First of all, if you had lots of messages down here and you wanted more room to read them, you can double click the title bar of the output part of the window